Jaden. Hope you're having a great day today. Here's your video lesson. Let's see here. One huge topic I want to talk about. I'll talk about that topic, and we'll continue this conversation if you're into it for several weeks. So let's get to it. So I was going over my notes here, and I had in here, since we've been talking about strumming and doing more chordal work rather than riff work, I thought it'd be kind of nice. I had in my notes here that you were interested in lo-fi guitar. So I figured today would be a perfect time for me to kind of start that conversation, show you some basic handouts that you can use, and some how to kind of set it up, and to maybe even start writing some music on your own if you're so choose. So I'll go through my level 1 lo-fi guitar, and if it piques your interest, I have many levels of lo-fi guitar, and it also connects to what's called a neo-soul guitar. More about that in a second. So. Awesome. So lo-fi guitar, if I had to kind of like pick a guitar player that the young people would probably know, I would think of like Mac DeMarco would be that kind of sound. Really, it's kind of like a vibe at the end of the day, not necessarily like a set of chord changes. When I think of lo-fi, I think of like warbly, warbly reverbed out guitars. So there's a lot of tech involved with this. I think you said you have the Katana. Everything you need is inside the Katana. You could do some really cool lo-fi sounds. Oh, that's not a Katana. It's in the studio. You can do a lot of lo-fi work, or tone work, that is, if you connect your amp to your guitar. So I highly recommend getting that USB-C cable and connecting your amp to your computer and downloading the software. It doesn't take up much room. It's a very straightforward, very clean looking operating system. There's a reason why that amp is so successful, is because it's pretty straightforward to learn how to use and save your tones in the bank. I'm using my fancy pedal board down here because they're my babies, so I'm going to use those instead of any sort of like 5150 doesn't have any effects, but I'm not going to use the ones I have in my plugins on my in my audio interface over here. So I'm going to use all analog technology. So like I said, think of like Mac DeMarco. What I would do is go on Instagram. There's a page that you might want to follow. It's called Pickup Jazz. It's kind of a mixture between jazz. There's lo-fi, and there's a lot of lo-fi in there, a lot of the neo-soul stuff. The reason why I lump neo-soul and lo-fi together, because they share a lot of the same harmonies and the same scales. So that's what I kind of like when I teach one, I kind of teach the other a little bit, depending on what the student's looking for. So first thing is your tone. What you're going to be looking for is electric guitar, obviously, and you're going to want a heavy reverb sound. I'm using my Electro Harmonix Holy Grail over here, circa 1997. It's one of the first pedals I ever owned. It's still on my board right over here. It's older than you by a lot. And then what I did was I connected it to a modulation effect. So what reverb does, it just simply emulates the sound of a large or small hall inside of a very small room like this, compared to a concert hall. And if I just click my reverb on, what I'm looking for is that really heavy sustain, and it sounds like this. I just play a plain old G chord. See that little echo? You don't need a whole lot, but it's good to have that reverb on there, right? So you go on your amp, you just crank the reverb, and you kind of season it to taste. We can talk more about that in person. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my vibrato pedal. So the other effect that you're going to want to use that's kind of a staple of this is you're looking for that worn out tape effect. If I show you right here, I have one of these I just dug out of my closet that was actually mine many years ago, like I said, late 90s. This right here is a Tascam 4-track right here. This right here, I did not realize this. I had it sit in my closet, and this has been sitting there. Here's a tape of me playing back when I was your age, and I don't let anybody ever listen to it. But the reason why these are highly sought after and why it's going to stay in my collection is because this will produce a warbly tape effect. Like the tape is worn out, and that's kind of a staple of the sound, is that worn out tape effect. Like you've played that tape over and over and over again, and it's just stretched out, and it's just echoey, and it's not once what it was. I remember having a vinyl one time, and I can't remember what piece it was, but I put it on, and I loved how warm it was, and how like it was almost like the pitches were all changing and modulating. It's kind of coming in and out of tune. I love that that sound. And then I go listen to it on digital, and I was like, wait a minute, that's not even the same song. So the tone is a huge part of this style. So what I've done is I've taken my vibrato pedal and added this like warble to it to emulate the sound of a tape that's been played 10,000 times and it's just seeing the end of its life. They make all kinds of cool effects. Some cheaper, some are very expensive, some studio quality that will create this effect. So here is my reverb on, and I got my vibrato setting. Vibrato is going to work. There's a whole section in your Katana that's just marked modulation, and modulation is just causing a pitch change effect with the guitar. So anything like chorus, vibrato, what else would be kind of lumped in there? Phaser, flanger, those are all modulation effects because they're causing the pitch to warble. And so the one I've chosen here, because it's on my board right now, is this Behringer vibrato pedal, and it sounds like this. Cool. And it's whoa, 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 whoa. It's reverbed out. So it's like almost like this tape that we've been listening to for 20 years is on its last leg, but there's just a warmth to it that's just really neat. That's why it's important to make sure you have the tone, because if you don't put the tone of the worn out tape into lo-fi, you're gonna be missing something. It's kind of like playing metal and you're playing through a clean amp. You're playing the right notes, but it doesn't have the right feel, right? Remember, because elements of music, tone is just as important as any of the other ones. So, rhythm I think is. If I had to pick a king, right, I would pick rhythm. But anyway, so that's what I've done there. So I've picked out my tape effect. Next thing, and this is a whole huge topic right here, which we'll talk about, we'll introduce it today, is harmony. Right? If you're gonna write music, you gotta write the chords first. No matter if I'm writing metal, if I'm writing country, if I'm doing jazz, if I'm doing rock, if I'm doing grunge, lo-fi, neo soul, I'm always starting with what chords am I playing over top of. And what we're gonna do is, I have this cool handout right here I'm gonna send you. This is called a Nashville number system. It goes really deep, but I'm just gonna give you the chart today and we talk more about what the Roman numerals mean above. You're in your theory class, you can figure it out. But what you do is, you got the chart here, you have one column marked major keys, and then you have another column marked minor keys. And what you do, you go to either the capital Roman numeral 1, that means major 1. That's your home base chord, okay? And that's going to be giving all your major keys, right? If you come over here to the right column, that little lowercase Roman numeral 1, those are your minor home base keys right there. So if, say, the first one right here is A minor, well, you're in the key of A minor. If you go to the next one down, you go horizontal across, that is the key of E minor. So A minor, you go find your A minor chord right here, and you just really go straight across, and that gives you all the chords that are gonna play nicely together. There are other options that will play nicely, but this is just where you start. I would highly suggest starting off with just maybe pick one of the first 3 keys or maybe 4 keys. I would just say go ahead and start with E minor. That's what I'm going to do for my example right now. So I have E minor right here, and then if I go horizontal across that line right there, I'm going to see an F sharp diminished, G major, A minor, B minor, C major, D major. And we can talk more about these Roman numerals at the top right here, but just remember that E minor, you go down, you go to the first chord, you go across. That was diagonal. Go across, that gives you all the chords that are gonna play nice together. What I would suggest doing is pick 4 chords. And any of the 4 chords will do, maybe stay away from the diminished until I give you some more voicings of those. So I'm gonna pick E minor. I'm gonna go to G. And then I'm gonna go to A minor. And then I'm gonna go to D. I'm gonna switch that. I'm gonna go A minor, G, D, A minor, and then back to E minor, right? So I already got this cool sounding kind of sad chord progression. And lo-fi is not fast. What you're gonna do is you're gonna use the cage chords that we've talked about previously, and you're gonna pick one spot on your guitar to get really good at. So I'm gonna go here to my A minor form E minor chord. Remember, the style is not fast. It's all about space and tone and letting things just kind of warble about. 2, 3, and then I said the next chord is going to be a G chord. I'm going to go my C form G chord. 2, 3, and then I think my next chord is going to be a D chord, so I'm going to grab this D chord right here because it's kind of right in the same space. And then I'm going to go to A minor. So here are my chords. 2, 3, 4. It's all about space, man. Just let that tone do its job. And then to D. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3. And this is what I call the mediocre pop song. Right? It's just 4 chords. We're not reinventing the wheel. We're not trying to be crazy out of the box yet. We're just trying to get the style under our fingers and in our ears. So this is what I call the mediocre pop song. We're not doing anything fancy with it quite yet. Mediocre pop song meaning that if you pull up just like whatever's on the radio and you'll get what 4 chords are back there, it's just simple 4 chords, no guitar theatrics yet. Right? So I've picked out my 4 chords from this line right here, this E minor line, and what I'm doing, the point of the exercise is to get really good at my cage chords in one spot. Right? Next thing is the rhythm. What you'll do is you'll go on the YouTubes and you'll type in lo-fi beat backing track drums only. And it's just going to be the drum track. And if I put that on, if I hit play on there, it is just the drums. I'm going through my desk speakers here so I can really hear a little bit better. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 3, 4, 1. 2, 3, 4. And just get used to playing those chord shapes. Chord progression. And if you would get fancy, you can run it all into your looper pedal and then you can solo over top of it. So that's the first step, is just getting used to playing these chords in one spot. Once you get that down, you go to the next one. The better you know the chord progression in different spots, the more cool stuff you can do with it. But the next step would be making them more interesting chords. I'll just show you what the next step. Don't do this week because we're going to talk more about it. So this would be like level 2. I'd turn these chords into 7th chords or add chords. There's that DeMarco sound. So we go on for hours about that. So this week, just get used to the chord shapes, and then I'll show you how to use the pentatonics to do those little fills that I was doing. That's a little bit higher. That's like level 4 or 5, what I just did there. I think I have to level, how far have I gone with it so far myself? Yeah, so that was like level 4, and then you get into all kinds of crazy chord shapes, like, you know, like that's level, what did I say what that was? That's level 6. Then you do level 7 and stuff like this. So it goes pretty far, and then usually what happens if the students really dig in this, what we're doing, we kind of segue into baby jazz, or like say simple jazz tunes to learn the vernacular, and then they kind of come back and then integrate jazz harmonies with their lo-fi rock playing. So awesome. So hopefully you enjoyed that, and if you want more of it, we can talk more about it. If you just want to rock out, we can talk about that as well as too. All right, see you next time.